Since the Netherbrain fell, you and Shadowheart have seen more of Faerun than you ever thought possible. She no longer shies from wolves or water. Nothing in the world frightens her anymore, and you feel you could face anything by her side. One day, you receive a letter passed to you by a stranger who bows with deference. An invitation to a gathering of the friends and allies who stood by your side in the fight against the Absolute. You waste no time in packing and set off on the long road back to where all of your adventures together began.
Thou wert called here, some from above, some below. For with thine bond, together thou hast kept the wheel of fate spinning when it threatened to halt. Though thou wert drawn far apart in the months after the collapse of the Absolute, tonight, fate renews thy bond once more. Thou shouldst take care to preserve it. It is a great weapon, wielded in the hand of good. Go. Know one another once more.
I didn't expect to be nervous, but seeing everyone here like this, it's strange, isn't it? I feel like I must have dreamed the last few months. Now I'm waking up back in camp with my hair smelling like wood smoke and fallen leaves stuck to my backside. Oh, I've noticed. Ever since I first slipped into my camp garments, I should think. So, we should divvy up what we tell people about what we've been doing these past few months. I'd hate to be a bore that comes along and regurgitates the same story to someone moments after you've told them. Any ideas? Well, there's the visit to the House of the Moon, fending off Sharan assassins. That stray imp that joined us. Bing Bong, wasn't it? We've squeezed in a lot. And I'm glad I got to share it all with you. I'm sure we'll have them hanging off our every word. I'll leave you to do some mingling, unless you need anything else. Why? Are you expecting to be gone for long? All right. I could get lost in those arms. That can be arranged. Almost a shame we're with company. I'd be tempted to let you whisk me away someplace quiet. With music in the air and wine flowing, I think I'll manage. Don't get into trouble, but if you must, fetch me first.
You would think someone of my vintage would be inured to the passage of time. Yet these past 6 months have seemed endless without your company. But now, our paths cross once more. Just as I hoped they would, more like. The Oak Father has been kind to me this past while. Yet I cannot forget the bond we all forged together. It is one that can weather any distance, any passage of time. I know it can. For I feel the longing for old friends in my heart each day. Well, I am not normally given to imbibing, but this is a special occasion, and I believe our dear Withers procured a fine honey mead as part of the celebratory victuals. Even the most ascetic of nature's servants would be tempted by such an elixir, but that can wait. Your company is what truly drew me. Now, we have much to catch up on. Do not allow me to ramble on. I am eager to hear all you've been doing. In that case, very well. Our community grows rapidly. In 6 months, we have turned what was once a shadowy wasteland into a true home for all. In another 6 months, I would wager the scars of the past will be entirely invisible, even to those who remember them. The old masonry of Moonrise Towers and Rythwin have been repurposed into new homes, and the land is rich with harvests and bountiful trees. Nature and civilization are in harmony, stronger together. My greatest purpose and greatest reward. Those children have been through more than fate had any right to cast at them, and yet they go on as resilient as anything in nature. I impart what knowledge I can to them, yet, in truth, they teach me far more. The land we saved is theirs, and they will cherish it, I'm sure. Thaniel and Oliver shall never want for friends again. You are welcome whenever you like, and for however long you please. Now, please, tell me all, and spare no details. I shall not lie. I have an ulterior motive in wishing to hear all. It is the children, you see, my charges. Their appetite for bedtime tales is greater than I could ever have anticipated. Another story, Daddy Halsin. Another is the chorus that greets me each nightfall. They have all but exhausted my repertoire in but a few short months. No mean feat given the lifetime I have lived. I desperately need new material, please. My reputation is at stake. I am all ears, though I never cared for that phrase. A rather unsettling image. I am glad you have kept yourself occupied. No doubt I'll be able to spin a few yarns for the children from this. Thank you. Now, it would be cruel of me to hoard you all to myself for the evening, as much as I would like to. I shall leave you to the others for now, unless there was anything else. Quite often. They come and go as they please, but with so many playmates to avail of, they are far from strangers. They ask after you often. What you did for them will never be forgotten. I can see it in the land all around me. But more importantly, I see it in their faces whenever they visit. To make a child smile is to dabble with the power of gods, as far as I'm concerned. I spend half my days in ursine form. The children demand it. I had a score of them taking turns riding upon my back just days ago. I'm glad they are so comfortable with the Oakfather's creations. But they must learn that not all are as amiable as I am. A lesson for another time, though. They deserve some joy. As for roaming, that impulse has dwindled, I must admit. Perhaps because I have found where I am meant to be. On occasion, but I prefer not to interfere. Francesca of the High Forest is Archdruid now, and by all accounts, she has proven to be a steady and wise influence. Even Korga may yet find true balance, thanks to her influence. As did I, but somehow I feel like I no longer need to roam. That I have found something worthy laying roots for. Amazing what can be discovered about oneself, even at a ripe old age. Before you go, I have something for you. Just a little keepsake, really. Do you remember how I told you I like to whittle? I made this. Ducks are my favorite, but I thought they were particularly fitting in this case. They are migratory birds, of course, traveling far and wide with the turn of the seasons. Yet, they always find their way back to where they belong. Just like old friends find themselves back in each other's company. Just a token to remember me by. Now, I've taken up enough of your time. Go on. Enjoy the festivities. We can speak again later.
For 2 months I trained the Knights of the Comet. For 2 more I skewered Kithraki bellies. And for 2 more yet, I traveled through Limbo. I never imagined we'd be standing toe-to-toe on this day, in this place. Nothing but allies, I always told myself. A necessary partnership. But in spite of every strained word, every barbed glance, seeing you brings me even more pleasure than taking a Royal Inquisitor's head. We've spilled blood, gained a foothold in the astral, but still we need allies. And one beyond reckoning has made itself known. Zerith Minyaragith. Not a what, but a who. The immortal god king of the Githzerai. An exiled people. Once kin with mine, until the madness of civil war ripped our one sky into 2. Algish sent word of the rebellion to Minyaragith through the cosmos. He's agreed to parley. It's fallen to me to secure an alliance. Exactly the reaction I expected. My blade is keen as ever. But it was you who showed me that a proper victory doesn't always require a razor-sharp edge. Sometimes, a sincere plea is more persuasive than a dagger against the neck. Minyaragith is an ascetic. He reached out in good faith. This is his way. It is in this spirit that I must meet him. And if he refuses, I carry on. Gravity pulls me in but one direction. I am the comet. I will not rest until I burn Vlaakith's bones to ash and smash her phylactery to pieces. My people will be free. But you've heard that refrain before. Zealous, bossy, insistent. All part and parcel of my undeniable charm. I suppose it is, rather. I'm just glad to be here at all. It's taken a dozen Gish's talents, a few stolen psi crystals, and 2 10 days of effort to conjure my projection. Worth it, I'd say. I miss this place. This... Fey Run. More to the point, I missed you. I wouldn't even deny it with Vlaakith's vorpal blade at my neck. Though, I'd rather it not come to that. Now go. Mingle a bit. That's the word, right? Mingle. But don't think you've seen the last of me. I'll be back. Sure as the comet will rise, sure as Kalir will forever circle the sun.
Well now, you can make yourself presentable when you have a mind to. How nice to be understood again. I have spent the past months bickering with builders and bankers, all to restore the city exactly as it was. Same twisting alleys for purse pickers, same wooden buildings ready to get burnt by next year's dragon, same cisterns overflowing, huh? Baldurians simply get on with it. Stubbornness, civic spirit, plain stupidity. Perhaps all three, but nothing I will sniff at any longer. Harpers have come from half the world over to lend aid. Farmers, masons, healers. My own son, Jord, has been wooed to their ranks. Already he plans crop cycles in Worm's Crossing. Not so for my daughter. Ryan's rejoined the Flaming Fist. Temporarily, you understand. To organize the craftsmen. Though she spends more time locking up comrades for pocketing aid funds. They might learn a thing or two if they don't expel her. Again. Ah, yes. Forgive me. There wasn't much time to offer hospitality with an elder brain looming over the city. They ask about you, of course. But I keep them a little too busy for stories. There is still much to do. People to house. A Harper network to rebuild. I may have little love for this city, but so long as my family chooses to serve it, I can do no less. For all your travels, I hope you have arrived where you want to be. Home. Whatever that means to you. Ah, sentiment. With the greatest affection, I can think of better ways to sour our stomachs. I must inspect the refreshments. You'll never know. Some ne'er-do-well might have tampered with the wine.
Boo! We are not dreaming! It is our old friend! Boo suggested a hello is more traditional. You will forgive the aroma, I hope. We were not expecting the Dusty One to open a portal to our very cell. Boo had a moment to lick himself clean, but there is a little too much of Minsk to cover. Minsk and Boo have been helping, of course. We guard the streets, while Jaheira is occupied with Harperish matters. The Zentarum rule the city's underbelly, so Minsk and Boo went to give them a tickle. There were harsh words, battle cries, some manner of head wound. We awoke in a Zentish cell, awaiting trial by noble combat. Execution, says Boo, though I am not sure of the difference. It is a long walk to the gallows, and Minsk still has his fists, no? She told Minsk and Boo to behave themselves, which is why we shall be back in our cell by dawn. But leave such matters for the morn. Tonight is for celebration and the telling of tales. How have you filled your days since we tore this sticky tyrant from the sky? Aha, the lovebirds still nest together then? Minsk is glad. For what is life without a companion? Though I am thinking yours does not sit on your shoulders, eh? Ah, You all right, Boo? That is, none of Minsk's business. There is much merriment to be made before the night is done. Go, and greet the others. Minsk shall make himself presentable. Ah, this pond shall do nicely, Boo. Though I see no soap. So you shall have to blow the bubbles for me.
Well, look who decided to turn up. I wasn't sure our withered old friend could live up to his promise. But here we are. And you're looking more delicious than ever, if you don't mind me saying. Whatever you've been doing with your time, it clearly worked wonders. Love is a powerful tonic. And where better to celebrate our good fortune? An old haunt with old friends. Exactly what I feared. Without the protection of our little friends, I was just an ordinary spawn again, burning in the sun. I fled the dock and found refuge in the shadows until night fell. Part of me was relieved you left so quickly after the battle. I felt ashamed. Like I'd lost everything. Just as you claimed your victory. I didn't want you to see me like that. But time lent perspective. It wasn't your victory, it was ours. And for all I'd lost, I'd gained so much more. I had freedom, strength, a whole new life. And it was time to live it. I've taken a turn as an adventurer and hero. It turns out no one actually cares about murder, as long as you murder the right people. And apparently I'm rather good at it. Let's not get carried away, darling. I'm still me. Perhaps more me than I've ever been. Hardly. Good people don't spend as much time lurking in the dark as I do. You know, it's funny. At first, I thought I was trapped by the shadows, cursed to live in them forever. But in time, I realized that darkness is as much a part of me as my fangs. This is only a curse as long as I refuse to embrace the shadows. So, I decided I would. I decided not to be defined by the choices other people made, by what other people did to me. My past may be done, but my present, my future, they're mine. This is who I am, in all my glory, for better and for worse. That being said, I haven't completely given up on returning to the sun. If the opportunity presented itself, well, I wouldn't say no. But until then, I am happy. We've had quite the journey, you and I. From the moment I first threatened you, I knew you were someone special. Someone to take on the world with. I will miss our time together. But then again, maybe this isn't goodbye. So much as it's, see you later, darling.
So, here we are. A gathering of allies at a cold campsite with no servants to attend us and few luxuries to enjoy. Ah, we could have been conquerors. We could have ruled these realms as gods. Do you ever regret that we did not take control of the Netherbrain? True. But what better revenge could there be than enslaving the abomination that was the author of my torment? I shall not dwell on the past, though. The future is unwritten and rich with possibilities. I feared that returning to the Underdark as an apostate of Lolth would be an act of madness. Perhaps it was. If so, it is a madness that fits me well. Rebels swarm to my cause, and even if it takes centuries, I will reclaim my house in Menzoberranzan. And make the Spider Queen bleed.
Gods, I must look a mess. I just rolled out from under a pesky ogre when Withers yanked me in. Oh, I didn't mean... Well, I didn't mean that. I just gutted the ogre, not... How about I change the subject before I dig this hole any deeper? It's so good to see you. And I've got so much to tell. The trolls I've torn open, the ghouls I've cleaved, the stories I've been itching to tell. I don't suppose you'd indulge me. Yes, but just the one, or I'll be yammering all night. You want to hear about the Stegosaurus that bullied Candle Keep, the impossible lich, or the young dragon who crawled out of Deeping Cave? It did, though the adventure had peaceful beginnings, as so many often do. I'd made camp south of Daggerford. The night was calm, lit by the green lanterns of a caravan. I was about to dig into a hearty stew when it began. A deluge of bone. It was as if 1,000 skeletons were walking the skies and had split into pieces. Skulls, knuckles, ribs rained down on me. I turned my skin to bark and made for the light. The bones clumped and clattered into unspeakable aberrations. I cast and carved until I reached the light. I found no caravan, but a sickly green lich. Each fallen bone was a shard of its essence, an impossibility. But what does a world of netherbrains and magic crowns care about the impossible? I raged through the night. By morning, the fields were buried in shards of bone, the liches included. I won't lie. Losing the eldritch blasts and the hexes took some getting used to. Nothing but void, where once there was hellfire. So, I stoked new fires in myself using the lessons my father once taught me. Now, the Blade of Frontiers is a ranger. A true hunter of monsters. A warden in more than just name. I've missed you too. The rush of battles we fought, the heart-to-hearts, the nights around the fire, the comfort of knowing I didn't face the unknown alone. If I had to do it all over again, and I'd rather not, to be clear, I can't imagine not having you at my side. Go on, the night's young. You shouldn't waste a moment of it. Or waste a single drop of wine for that matter. I plan on downing half a bottle myself. Oops, did I say half a bottle? I meant half a dozen.
Oh, hello. Let me guess, you've got some suggestions about the music choice. You have no idea who I am, do you? I thought Withers might have set the stage a little. I owe him a favor, one he is eternally invoking. I thought honoring the worthy was a fair price to pay for Withers to pull me out of the fugue plane. Alas, one purgatory to another. Languishing in obscurity. Cyric knew what he was doing when he punished me for that song, the prick. Before I was banished to the fugue plane, I had song prayers coming out the proverbial ears. Guess how many I get now? None.
Musical prayers were once offered to Melil, Lord of Song, a minor deity whose worship faded after offending the trickster god Cyric.
I'm washed up, I'm afraid. You know? You're bloody right! It is an honor! Finally! The scribe picks an adventurer of substance, of culture! What can I do you for? Your wish is my... etc. What song do you want? Fantastic idea. It'll suit the whole affair perfectly.
There's something strange in your old friend's mouth. What is it? A familiar invitation. He wants you to throw the object he's dropped. But it isn't a ball. It's the astral prism. He whines. Less talk, more throw. Scratch barks merrily in something like agreement.
Oh,
Very.
right. You. Hello. Something caught in your throat, dear? Anyway, I hear congratulations are in order. You helped Mr. Dakarios save Baldur's Gate from the Absolute, isn't that right? I can almost feel Gale here. Among his friends. In you. Some part of him remains, doesn't it? That's good. We should miss him. He was such a lovely fellow. Proud as a peacock, but my little love. Oh, what I wouldn't give to snuggle up on his lap one more time. Just once would do. Oh, I couldn't possibly. Unless, well, perhaps it's not a terrible idea. Gale would be quite pleased to know we've made friends, wouldn't he? Perhaps you'd be willing to come meet Gale's mother sometime? She misses him so. And I know it would do her heart a world of good to discuss her son with someone who knew him as he was. Jolly good. I'll tell Mrs. Dakarios to be expecting you. Oh, she'll be delighted. Things just haven't been the same without himself cluttering up the place. Enjoy your party, dear. I've heard you quite deserve a celebration.
Well met. I am a magical projection of Gale of Waterdeep. And if you see this manifestation, that means I have prematurely perished. Alas, on this occasion I appear to have been erased from this plane in both soul and substance. So the usual protocol for revivification cannot be followed. I am, however, available for the duration of this spell to assist with the tying of any loose ends related to my recent departure from mortality. As I said, I am merely a projection of Gale. A highly accomplished one, reflecting my creator's flair for such magic. But in no way am I the great wizard himself. He is gone. The good news is I am here precisely to assist in cushioning that heaviest of blows. I have been entrusted with the delivery of a letter to be given to one who cared most for me in life. I hope these words do something to ease the tragedy of my untimely and honestly, quite unexpected passing. With that, I'm afraid my spell is waning. Is there anything else you need of me before I blink out of existence? How fortunate I was to know someone like you.
Thou feelst it still. She is not here. She who was the boldest. Hast thy thoughts been with brave Karlach often? She would not come. Truly? Most of the time it was she who was strong for thee. Didst thou not employ her ever to carry all of thine loot? With thee, she couldst do anything. In but 10 days, an entire life was lived. More than mortal years. Mortal centuries were hers. Thy band, thy bond, gave that life to her. Not like thou wert her kin. It was written in her heart. Surely thou knowest that. In the fugue plain her soul burns so bright, it pains the gods to look upon. Recall that in time all changeth and all is rejoined. Thou shalt be with her again. What indeed? Prick up thy ears and listen. The balance of the world restored. The balance of these lives, mortal and otherwise, brought to account. Hear me, thou heroes, wastrels, friends. I have waited long to tell you these words. It is over. For now. Thou played thy part in weaving the fabric of fate itself, but for every thread you sewed, so did the gods unravel another. Sleep, rest, revel, but be ready, for thou mayst yet be needed. Until we meet again, I wish thee every possible fortune, health, wealth, love, and above all, problems worth solving. To you. There thou art, the dead three. Thy faces gods, thy actions barely worthy of the name. Didst truly believe thy ploy would succeed? Didst believe I would not notice? Thou soughtst to bolster thy strength by taking away the souls of mortals. But souls vanish when their hosts become mind flayers. Didst think the other gods would not notice? Gods thou may be, yet thou hast proven thyself fools, everyone. The supplication of Bane, the whimper of Baal, the death mule of Merkel, felled by mortals. I overestimated thee. They did not. Vermin, away. Thou wilt trouble us no more.